What is the primary method discussed for enabling transitive traffic in a hub-and-spoke topology in Azure? By using user-defined routes or UDRs. The routes that are created and managed automatically by Azure for resources you create are known as system-defined routes. How can you view the system-defined routes for a virtual machine in Azure? By navigating to machine's network interface card and selecting effective routes. In a hub-and-spoke VNet peering setup, what is the default behavior for traffic between two spoke VNets? Traffic is not transitive by default. Spokes cannot communicate directly through the hub. What are the two essential components required to enable transitive traffic between spokes through a hub VNet? A virtual appliance NVDA in the hub and a user-defined route UDR. What is the first resource you need to create in the Azure portal to start defining custom routes? A route table. Creating a route table, what does the propagate gateway routes set? Whether routes from an on-premises network connected via a virtual network gateway are propagated to the route table. After creating a route table, what are the two main configuration sections you need to interact with? Defining the routes themselves and associating subnets. In the context of a UDR, what does the next hop type specify? It specifies the type of resource the traffic should be sent to next, such as a virtual appliance, VNet gateway, or the internet. To route traffic from a spoke VNet A, to another spoke VNet B through a hub, what should the next hop type be set to in the UDR? Virtual appliance. For a UDR to take effect for the resources within a virtual network, what must be done with the route table? It must be associated with the specific subnet containing those resources. After associating a user-defined route table with a subnet, what change would you see in the effective routes blade for a NIC in that subnet? The name of the associated user-defined route table appears and the custom route is listed. Does applying a user-defined route UDR to replace the existing system-defined routes? No, it adds to the system-defined routes. What Azure feature allows you to secure connectivity to Azure PaaS services by extending your VNet's private address space and identity to the services over the Microsoft Backbone network. Service endpoint. A service endpoint. What Azure feature allows you to secure connectivity to Azure PaaS services by extending your VNet's private address space and identity to the services over the Microsoft Backbone network? A service endpoint. When using a service endpoint to connect to a PaaS service like a storage account, does the traffic travel over the public internet? No, the traffic is optimized to travel over the Microsoft Azure Backbone network. At what scope must a service endpoint be enabled in a virtual network? It must be enabled for each specific subnet that requires access. When you enable a service endpoint for a Microsoft storage, can you specify a single storage account? No, it is enabled for the entire service, not a specific instance of the resource. What is the cost model for the Azure Service Endpoint feature itself? There is no additional charge for the Service Endpoint feature itself. What Azure feature provides private connectivity to PaaS services by creating a network interface in your VNet with a private IP address. Private link. When using a private link, where does the traffic flow to reach the PaaS service? The traffic stays entirely within your private network, private virtual network. Unlike a service, a private link creates a task in your VNet, which is assigned a private IP address from your subnet. A private link creates a network interface card in your VNet. Which service endpoint or private link allows you to be more specific by targeting a particular instance of a resource. For example, a specific SQL database. Private link. Which service endpoint or private link brings the PaaS resources connectivity into your rather than just extending the VNet to the service? Private link. What is the cost model for the Azure private link feature? Private link comes at an additional cost as a resource. In the demonstration, the user-defined route was created to direct traffic destined for VNetV's address range to what next hop? A virtual appliance, which was the backend server located in the hard VNet. The process of forwarding traffic between peer networks via a central hub, often using UDRs and an NVA, is known as enabling transitive traffic. To check the system routes for the front-end server VM, the demonstrator navigated to its network interface card and then scrolled down to word setting. Effective routes. What is the purpose of adding a route in a route table? To define a path for traffic to a specific destination network, specifying the next hop for that traffic. What is the purpose of associating a subnet with a route table? To apply the routes defined in the table to all resources within that specific subnet. How does a private link enhance security compared to a public endpoint? It prevents the service from being exposed to the public internet by making it acceptable only via a private IP address within your VNet. VNet has two subnets, subnet A and subnet B, and you enable a service endpoint on subnet and resources in subnet B use that endpoint. No, resources in subnet B would not be able to use the service endpoint. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.